Yo, England have just beaten Serbia in their opening game of the European Championships, and in this video I'm going to discuss how England set up, why they seemed to struggle after the first 30 minutes, which players stood out and who disappointed. England started the game well with a swagger about them and took the lead after 12 minutes through Jude Bellingham's header following a deflected cross from Bukayo Saka. That's exactly what this England team were missing in those recent friendlies against Bosnia and Iceland. Their midfielders breaking their necks to get into the box to get on the edge of the great service that does come from wide areas. In possession, England adopted a high line and played a very fluid 3-1-4-2 formation with lots of rotations between the attacking players. I mentioned in my video about Gareth Southgate a few weeks ago that this fluidity in the final third has become a hallmark of his England sides. In the opening half an hour, Serbia couldn't live with England's fluidity, their intensity or quality, and it looked as if England were going to make light work of a Serbia side who do struggle with the defensive side of the game. When playing out from the back and in possession, England did have a clear structure. They built attacks initially in a 2-4 structure and they adopted a 4-2-3-1 shape out of possession. When the opposition had the ball, they adopted this ever-present mid-block under Gareth Southgate and pressed selectively. Although the press died significantly after the first half an hour, which is one of the factors that contributed towards Serbia getting back into the game, I do think that Harry Kane and Phil Foden in particular could have done a lot more without the ball. As structured as England were in these phases of the game, Jude Bellingham especially did have the licence to drop deep when required to provide another passing option when starting attacks, and he covered the most ground out of possession, moving to whichever side of the pitch the ball was on to plug gaps where required. We did see Phil Foden dropping deep at times as well, particularly in the second half, but he wasn't as influential as Bellingham was when carrying out the same role. England were quite risk averse when they did have possession deep in their own half, with even the likes of John Stones and Phil Foden opting to hook the ball away as opposed to playing out of trouble and drawing the opposition press. The second half was one in which England had to suffer for long periods. Serbia came out playing with much more intensity. Pavlovic got much tighter to Bukayo Saka, and the introduction of Dusan Tadic on the hour mark added another dimension to Serbia's attacking play. That being said, England did limit Serbia to ambitious strikes from distance, the best of which came from Dusan Vlahovic, and it was well saved by Jordan Pickford. Southgate did respond by bringing on Conor Gallagher for Trent Alexander-Arnold to give him a bit more energy and aggression in the midfield, which he did manage to do to an extent. Jared Bowen also came on for Saka to provide a fresher test for Pavlovic, and he did create the best chance of the second half for Harry Kane, which was well saved by Rakovic. Bowen did well defensively too for the 15 minutes that he was on the pitch. England's struggles in the second half were caused by Harry Kane coming too deep and giving his side no real outlet deep in the opposition's half, in addition to having no real outlet on the left-hand side either. England only looked dangerous from the left-hand side when Jude Bellingham roamed to that side of the pitch to pick up the ball and when he actually just drove at Veljkovic. However, the biggest issue in my opinion was the lack of composure in possession and the lack of aggression without the ball. I think Trent was particularly guilty of firing balls forward when perhaps keeping it simple was the right option, especially when you're in a difficult period of the game and you're just looking to play your way back into it. It was a good result, but far from a complete performance. More accomplished international sides would have punished that second half showing from England, and I'm sure a lot of top sides will be taking notes of just how much more dangerous England are down the right-hand side as opposed to the left. This imbalance, of course, could be addressed by the introduction of Luke Shaw into this team, with Anthony Gordon playing as a more conventional wide player as another option that they always have. It will be interesting to see if this Rice-Trent partnership continues as England advance into the tournament. I don't think we learned anything about Trent that we didn't already know. It wasn't exactly a tough examination of his defensive abilities, but he did have a very good game. Speaking of individual performances, I thought Declan Rice and Jude Bellingham were the standout players, and I was disappointed with Phil Foden again. He decorated the game with some lovely bits of play, but he didn't impact the game like Bellingham, Saka or Trent. He's easy on the eye, but not as efficient as you would like him to be. I think Mark Guéhi deserves a mention as well, considering it was his first competitive start. I thought he actually looked like the most accomplished of England's two central defenders. That's all from me. Please let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. What do you agree with? What do you disagree with? Please give the video a like, it helps a lot, and click subscribe for more football related content, including England's game against Denmark on Thursday. Thanks for watching.